Oh my gosh. Breaking news for the E3, not E3 season. Is Nintendo getting weird with us again? They love to do this. They love to kind of freak us out. And Gabe, I'm starting to get nervous. Gabe's here.
I'm not. Hi, Gabe is here. Why would you be nervous?
Because I think when Nintendo decides to do something different, it just doesn't work out so well. Like, the Switch is like the rare example of different being great. But, okay, what are we talking about here? Guys and girls, June is around the corner, and Nintendo is expected to do a Direct. We know Microsoft and Bethesda have a showcase. There's a lot of rumors about Sony. Other big publishers are getting in on the action, and so I think everyone expects that Nintendo will have a large Direct. Well, Jeff Grubb just talked about something very interesting, and I want to be very clear that he said he cannot confirm this, but I still think it's very, very fascinating, and we need to sort of talk this out. Look, we're cutting straight to the chase. Yoda is now in this game. You can use Yoda with his ear hair and all in your text message conversations, and that's that. Today's video is brought to you by Yoda in Disney Emoji Blitz, because now this is the best mobile game you can play. Make sure to click the link in the description down below. There is no try, only do, so you can be Yoda in Disney Emoji Blitz, one of the coolest match 3 strategic puzzlers out there, where every single Disney face has its own unique power-up. And Yoda is here. May is Star Wars month. Yoda is here. They added Emperor Palpatine. There's even Maleficent in her dragon form, looking all sorts of beastly. And I love that you can use these in your text, like I said. Now you can send Yoda to your grandma. You can send Yoda to your girlfriend. You can send Yoda to yourself. Set up a little text with yourself. Now, I'm not going to force you, but I do have a cool prize, which is 3 $20 eShop gift cards. And all you gotta do is download the game using my link, reach level 15, which you can do pretty darn quickly, and then send me a picture of your progress. All right, we're picking the winners in a couple of days, so get after it. This game, it's so good, and I love that they continue to add all of our favorites, but most importantly, Yoda. Jeff Grubb, insider extraordinaire, who is right much more than he is wrong, said that he's heard some rumblings that Nintendo may opt to do several smaller shows, game-specific type shows, instead of one big Direct. Now, everybody just give me your first blush reaction in the comments, please. Gabe, first blush reaction to small Directs, game specific, no big show.
I wouldn't be opposed to it, honestly, because Directs have peaks and valleys, because the show just needs, you can't have every announcement be a home run. But if they're just individualized presentations for stuff that needs it, I feel like that for me works. And I also just want to hammer home one last time that Jeff Grubb says that this could just not happen, but it's a fascinating conversation, because what I jump to is what are the games, what games deserve this? And there isn't a ton that we know about that I can think of that would need this. Pokemon, sure, but
well, there's 3 to me, but my knee-jerk reaction that I just get very fearful of is that to me says they don't have much new to show. Because how are you gonna have, you can't have a mini Direct for unannounced game number 4, you know what I mean? That tells me that they don't really have a ton of stuff. But I could see them doing Splatoon 3, Xenoblade Chronicles 3, Pokemon, as you mentioned, all are worthy of their own show. And we've seen Nintendo do this before. They have had game specific Directs throughout the year, but they've never kind of come with this Ringling Brothers circus, in the main tent is Splatoon 3, and in the other tent, they haven't done that in all close together. That would be a really strange departure. But like you said, the peaks and valleys, people get very pissed off when they go spend 15 minutes on a game that they don't care about, right? You have this 48-minute Direct, but they spend 15 on Xenoblade Chronicles 3, and you're not a JRPG person. That would mitigate that, right? That would remove that bummer, and you would just watch the shows that you want to watch.
To me, the most, not even that, because I'm talking about something completely different. I'm talking about the parts of the Direct where it's random rhythm game 6 or Japanese game number 12 of the presentation, stuff like that, where no, in my head, I'm so sorry if you care, but no one cares about these things.
It feels like no one cares. It feels like this is just filler.
Yeah. So if we can get some condensed shows, and you and I, we like Xenoblade just fine, and I think we're excited for this upcoming one, but we're not the biggest fans in the world. I don't think we need to go through 12 different varieties of gameplay in the Direct, because again, it becomes filler. if we can just like get to the parts that we want. Let's say you and I are very excited for Splatoon. Let's go watch like a 15-minute Splatoon presentation instead.
I am very excited for Splatoon.
Of course.
And I think deep dives into games are interesting. And look, Nintendo has basically done this, but in a different form. Like they've done Treehouse, where they then kind of deep dive into the games. They show them off in the Direct, and they deep dive. And I like that format just fine. Again, my concern with this is like, where do you put new? Like how do you have a bunch of little shows for new, unless they're going to have the big one and then breakout sessions as well. Like, we've seen previously them do a Pokemon Presents right before their E3 Direct, and I think that is fully on the table this year. We don't know hardly anything about Scarlet and Violet outside of the 3 awesome starters and the Spain-infused setting. That, to me, makes better sense. Like, what if you had Pokemon Presents, and then you had, a Xenoblade, and then you had Splatoon, and then you also had the Direct? Like, that's, maybe I'm having my cake and eating it too, but where do you put the new stuff?
Who says there is new stuff? No, I'm joking. Don't do
that.
Joking.
Don't do that.
This
is supposed to be
something additional has to be coming for the holiday season. Whether that be
something,
whether that be a Zelda remake of some kind, maybe it's only Wind Waker, since we've seen that Twilight just maybe isn't a thing right now. Whether it be Prime, I feel like something will have Prime, the original, not 4. I feel good about that. And I also feel good about the fact that there just could very well be a Direct. That's like the other thing.
Because I think Nintendo, they love to have their indie moment. They love to have their surprise drop moment. They probably love to have a Nintendo Switch Online moment. And unless you're going to have like 50 shows, I don't know how you split this up. They've tried the mini Direct before. What were those called? Publisher? Week sauce?
Yeah. Publisher showcase, something?
Yeah, developer showcase, whatever. Yeah. Those weren't great. So Nintendo, you can't do that again. But I think maybe there's wires being crossed here, that there are separate shows kind of in the summer season, maybe for Splatoon and for Pokemon, or for Xenoblade, and alongside a Direct, because Jeff Grubb also stated that like Nintendo does get a bunch of benefit out of the big Direct, where everyone comes together, everyone gets super excited for it, everyone watches the showcase, and they can then highlight those games that you say no one cares about, that they still love to highlight. And they could give, shine to Hollow Knight Silksong. They could give shine to, something they surprise drop. Maybe they're just reconfiguring, since there is no physical presence and not even a digital E3 presence. Maybe they're just kind of reworking their formats, and maybe it is going to be, mini shows instead of, okay, there's the Direct and immediately after there's a Treehouse. Maybe it's just kind of segmented more, since they don't have to follow any game industry imposed schedule.
Yeah, I'm not against any change in format or structure. I think if they put enough into it, they could do a good job and have some fun. Maybe last more than a day. You know what I mean? Like you don't have to drop all of these.
Last more than a day.
Yeah, like if you drop like a Splatoon like 10 to 15 minute thing on Tuesday, then on Thursday tune in for Xenoblade, and then next week tune in for a Pokemon thing. So that becomes more exciting, because instead of just having you have one fun day, cool. But if you have a fun month with these spaced out, that could be fun.
I do think there's a lot to share about Xenoblade and Splatoon, and like the perfect world scenario is that they do split those off and they dedicate the Direct to latter half 2022 and 2023. Nintendo is going to show something big for next year. Like they're going to build the engine, whether it's even Breath of the Wild 2, like that's a candidate. I do not think we get out of June with no clue what they're doing in 2023. I think they will highlight some game that's a look ahead. We have a great lineup for the fall, but that's all immediate, and there's got to be some look ahead.
They can do that in September.
They can. I'm not very worried. Like, it freaked me out at the beginning, but I do think that, personally, they'll still go with a big Direct. I think that's just... It's too beloved, and there's too much hype around it. The only time they've skipped was 2020, and I don't feel like this is anywhere near as dire as that was. I don't think we're in that same boat. So I'm still betting on a Direct, but... maybe now I'm also betting on some spin-offs, and definitely the Pokemon one.
Their Twitter activity is what worries me. Like, they tweet a lot about Splatoon. They tweet so much about Xenoblade. Every morning I wake up and they're saying some random thing about Xenoblade, and it's cool. Like, it is, don't get me wrong. I know a lot of people are really into that, but I'm like, okay, if you're giving us this, because they're giving information out. It's not just like, oh, please be excited.
Sure.
Traditionally, they'll sit there and go through like every character for like Xenoblade on the Direct. They're doing it on Twitter. So
doesn't that bode well? Doesn't that mean there's like they don't have to spend time on that?
Yeah, I guess, but then they got to spend time on something. Presumably, they don't have to do anything.
Maybe they're just gonna go all tweet heavy. It's gonna be like, hey, tune in for these games you know about, and we'll tweet like, I don't know. There's a new Metroid remake thingy. I am still very excited. We're getting very close, and I wonder if Nintendo is going to open the box soon. It's back 3rd of May. Typically, we know what's going on. Microsoft and everybody else is kind of centered around the same week as normal. Nintendo's. You still think they go then?
Yeah. I'm with you. I think if I had to bet, I would bet on a traditional Direct happening.
Okay.
Yeah. Jeff Grubb, he seems reluctant. Like he said he didn't want people to go, make headlines about this, but it's the internet. It's what happens. So you're probably going to see a lot about this, right? That's another thing that I would like to say, that if you see a headline saying, Nintendo's not doing a Direct, they're doing smaller shows, like he said
it's very up in the air.
Yeah.
There's no confirmation.
They gotta solidify quickly, because you gotta shoot. Like you get the filming for like the in person.
I think it's got to be done, right? Like, or at least they got to be editing by this point.
Because the in person like segments are so small. I don't know, maybe.
I feel like this is. I mean, I feel like they got to be obsessively cutting it down and trying to figure it out. I just want to also say that like this means so much to me that they can't not have a show. I don't know if anybody else feels this way, but like. This week, E3 has always been like my Christmas, and I'm gutted that there is no E3 to go to, no E3 to watch, but like they can't. It was low-key miserable when they didn't have a Direct for like 600 days or whatever, so they can't. I don't even want to toy with that idea. We need that big Direct is like, it's important to every Nintendo fan.
We're not going on a big drought again. Like even let's say they don't have a Direct, September we'll have one, I feel like.
Yeah,
we're not going to go on some massive drought. It's not happening.
Yeah, I just really want a big summer show, and I want them to try and kindle the spirit of E3, even if they don't have E3.
I don't want to don't get into it like heavily, but they may or may not have a big console launch, right? So information is coming. We're not about to go on a drought. I don't think that we need to worry about a drought. It's not happening.
Sounds good, and we will not worry about a drought with videos. We'll be back again soon. In the meantime, let us know what you think about multiple showcases, a Direct and multiple, just the Direct. How would you see it happening? How would you like it to happen? Fill us in the comments. Hit that like button if you enjoy. Gabe, thank you for talking to me about this breaking news that worried me, but I feel better about now, and hopefully you all do too. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, stay positive out there. Until next time, SwitchForce out.